Hey, this is Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct here. And I really want you to learn how to level up your life. You should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my great friend, Scott Ferguson. Let's level up.
Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I'm super stoked to bring you a fellow martial artist, a good friend of mine, and most importantly, the Master Connector himself, Steve Spiro. He is full of energy. He's full of empathy. He's full of giving. He's full of serving. And I'm just so blessed to be connected and be able to collaborate with my good friend Steve. He invited me on his podcast, which was just an absolute phenomenal experience. And that will be his show will be in the show notes. But let's get to this interview. He dropped some serious knowledge nuggets. So you might want to make sure you break out your notebook. So without further ado, here's my good friend Steve Spiro, the Master Connector. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson and my awesome sauce, really good friend Marcus Ogden. I said it would be a huge mistake if I do not have Steve Spiro on the Time to Shine Today podcast, which after vetting him out and having a short conversation with him in the past, I'm super stoked that I'm able to bring Steve on. And Steve is very passionate about helping people level up. You know, he's got a really unique story. He grew up introverted, got bullied, was dyslexic, went on and like myself, we went into martial arts and got 2 black belts, which is fantastic. He graduated, couldn't land a job, so he did what we're all happy he did and launched his own company. And he really knows how to pivot or shift, or what do they call that now? Shift, or I call it shivot. So that's kind of what he did. You know, he's a huge self-development, personal development junkie, and he loves to inspire people. So he's like perfect for the Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad, that's out there. So Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Introduce yourself to the squad, but first, what's your favorite color and why?
I'd say blue.
Blue? All right.
You can see right behind me here.
Yeah.
I think blue is it's cooling. I just respond to blue.
Yeah, it's cooling, but it's also powerful. I'm looking at the Atlantic Ocean right now, and it's
I love
powerful,
the ocean.
right? Love
Absolutely.
it. So let's get into this like little kind of time when you were younger, a little dyslexic, been a little bullied, and what the steps you were to really kind of level up and take that to help others level up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I do want to say thank you, Scott. It's an honor to be on here with you, sir. And thank you. Big shout out as well to Marcus for hooking us up. And
hell yeah,
I appreciate him as well. But so listen, my story is not one of those kind of woe is me things, right? Sure. I think my attitude is whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so I grew up, like you said, I was picked on. My nickname was growing up was Spaz, right? Last name Spiro. They came up with Spaz. Man. I was uncoordinated. I was the guy that, I had built up the courage to ask a girl out, and she said no. And it's just like, that was the way I grew up, but it was all right, because you know what? I learned that you could turn these obstacles, these challenges. I did a post about it today. You could turn it into your biggest strength and your biggest weakness. And I think I've always grown up, Scott, with a chip on my shoulder. I had something to prove. I love these stories, the Bravehearts, the Rudies, the Gladiators, I love those movies, and probably what drove me to kind of be a martial artist. And even in the martial arts, I had a chip on my shoulder. I was the least likely to succeed. I'm a short guy, 5'7", barely, after pretty much no legs at all. After my hips come my feet. I mean, I'm just short, and
I'm not laughing at you, brother. We walk you and I are brothers from different mothers, man. We walk similar paths, man.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
But anyway, it's all about getting over what you go through, and just getting to the next level and take it into the next level, level up, whatever. Don't take what you're doing, what you're stuck with, and stay there. Get out of it. That's it.
Right. And what's your protocol, if you lack of a better term, that you use now to help others really level up to your being a master connector?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I'm a big believer in being a blessing, being a uplifter to people, like you pointed out, and I think it's I love being on social media. My I'm pretty much a one-trick pony as it relates to social media. It's LinkedIn, right? But I love having the ability to put out videos and put out posts. And I'm always thinking, okay, what could be a way to be blessing people? When I take calls and have networking calls like you and I did, sir, I'm always thinking, okay, what can I do to add value? And I know you're going to be on our show, and we appreciate that as well. And so it's always, okay, what can I do to just bless other people? And that's my protocol. That's my mindset. It's not about an agenda. It's not about a pitch. It's about, okay, what can I do? Because that the law of, the universal law, right? You reap what you sow, you give, you get, the law of reciprocity, and all those things are in play. You know?
Man. How important is reciprocity? Receiving.
I think it's everything. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Imagine if you were a farmer and you're like, okay, I tell you what, and you're talking to the ground right now. You talk to the ground, you say, okay, why don't you give me wheat? And then I'll throw the seed down. No, you got to throw the seed down and do the work, and then you get the harvest, right? It's just it's just the way it works, right?
Yeah. There's structure, protocol, really to everything. What I find a lot, even with my clients, Stevie, is that they'll give, right? But they don't know how to receive. What do you tell the people that don't know how to receive?
Well, one thing I've learned in life is you don't ask, you don't get. Right. And so yeah, but it will come, but you got to ask, right? You got to be bold enough to ask the question, right? Just say, hey, like I love, after I've done a lot of the right stuff, I might say, hey, let me ask you a question. I get the feeling like you really valued what I did for you, correct? Get them agreeing. Let me ask you, is there anybody that that you feel I should speak to that you think would be just to, find what I did with you just as valuable? Right.
Wow.
You don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah, man. And ask big too. Don't be afraid. I mean, what's funny is that when we're kids, Stevie, like we're born salesmen, right? You go through, if you have kids, you go through the checkout aisle and they're throwing stuff in your face. Can I? But we're conditioned. We're told no an average of 135,000 times by the time we're 12, right? So that's what we're born salesmen. So like you really want people to like get over that, get their asking gear, right? And be able to ask, because you're right, you won't get. I love that you said that. So do you work mainly kind of with groups or one-on-one mainly, Steve? What's your story?
So I have a lot of, I'm kind of like a cat. I don't have 9 lives, but I have like 5 lives, right? So what I do in the consulting space is I work with companies. I help them streamline and automate how they communicate and connect with their clients, leveraging artificial intelligence. I'm working with a team. My initial conversation might be with a CTO or a CFO, whatever. It's typically in that C space. But in terms of what I'm doing in terms of speaking, right? I mean, I was in front of a room of 50 or 70 people just the other day giving a talk, So it's a combination, right? My speaking side, are you talking about my entrepreneurial side? Are you talking about my consulting side?
Love it.
It's all varied. And, obviously LinkedIn Live, the LinkedIn Live show we have, right?
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah.
So what is your secret sauce, if you don't mind sharing, when you may be working with somebody that's blocked a little bit and helping them find their blind spot? What's a little bit of your secret sauce to do that?
Well, that's a good point. And so, listen, there's there's variations to the level of relationships that you have, right? So like, I'm not a business coach. I'm blessed to be mentored, and also have the ability I'm blessed to have people that I mentor, right? Mm-hmm. And I've learned, I don't know if you've heard of this, but it's the Johari window panes. And I tell people this, the 4 window panes, right? One being, what you know about you and I know about you, right, Scott? You're a pretty jacked dude, right? That's obvious, right?
Right.
I'm not messing with you. I don't care. Right. The second is what you know about you and I don't know about you, right? That's sort of your secret stuff, right? The stuff that, right? The third window pane is what you don't know about what you and what you know about what you don't know about you and I know about you. That's your blind spots. And then the fourth window pane, which is the most incredible one, which is the great unknown. It's what you don't know about you and I don't know about you. And that's your potential. And so working with people that have had the ability to and received it as well is those last 2. It's really the blind spots, but you got to earn that. And I'm not going to be able to speak into somebody's life and show them and share with them their blind spots unless I've gotten real permission to do that.
Sure.
So I like to, if I'm not earned that, and even if I have earned it, I like to tell stories. So I'm going to talk about myself. I'm going to talk about other people. And in that, I'm going to say something that maybe they'll get it. that I might be talking about them, but it's not as, I don't know. Some people get, and I was there and still am sometimes. Guard goes up, right? You know, you put the wall up, right?
Yeah, man.
But if you're talking stories and you share sort of something, you know, hey, listen, I know what you're dealing with. I felt that same way. And when my mentor told me, he said, do this, this, and this. In other words, I'm saying, do this, this, and this, but I'm just putting it on me so they don't feel like I'm telling them what they should or shouldn't do.
Oh, that's, yeah, because you're sharing from experience what your mentor might have told you.
Yeah.
And then they unconsciously competent pick up on it and be like, shit, maybe I should do that as well. That's awesome, Steve. Thank you. So when you're starting to work with somebody, man, and again, they're still a little blocked, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I love when people ask me, you know, what made me do what I do, but no, I that's a good question. I'm stumped on that question. It's funny in my career, and at one point there was a guy that was an expert in one area, and we would play chump the stump, stump the chump rather, stump the chump. I think you stumped the chump here. I don't know.
What was that sports show? Remember, they would try to get the one guy that knows all about sports and stuff. No, I mean, I think that if I was working with you and you started taking me in and stuff, I would ask, because I know because of your story, you're going to get me to where I want to go if I follow your protocol, right? Or you're going to arrange the protocol to work for me. But like, I would kind of ask, you know, how I can maintain it, you know, because you're going to get me to a spot. You know, my job as an executive coach is I want to be fired in 10 weeks. You know what I'm saying? I want to be done, but then the maintain. So thank you first of all, thank you for being transparent. I don't try to stump you on anything, but I was going through questions like what Stevie knows a lot of stuff. I mean, there's something that's awesome. Thank you for that, man. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future, Steve?
Of course.
All right, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly, right? Let's go back to the double deuce, the 22-year-old Steve. What kind of knowledge nuggets, we call them here, what kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on the double deuce Steve that maybe help him level up, shorten his learning curve, and blast through a little bit? Not so much change a lot, because you want those experiences. They shape you, right? But what kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop in to maybe help him level up quicker?
First of all, I absolutely would have said to my younger self, find somebody in your life that could really be a mentor to you, that really, really has the fruit on the tree, that's been there, done that. They have the experience, the knowledge, the lifestyle that you're looking for, and then do whatever it takes to get around them as much as possible. You know, I would have also told my younger self, dude, get over yourself and start reading and self-development. I wasn't big on that. My first start of self-development happened in the martial arts, which was great. And that taught me how to be a really good martial artist. But if I would have known, I needed to grow my people skills, especially. You know, I had the personality of a brick. You know, I'd rather hit you than talk to you, right?
Right.
And so I would definitely say, read some books, get some people skills, and get a mentor. Those probably are some of the biggest things that if I could go back in time. Now, again, I'm like you exactly, Scott. I don't regret any of that. I think whatever, again, it shaped who I am today.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
But if I could go back, I would definitely say get a mentor and definitely make sure that I'm working on my people skills, self-development, get around the right people, get around the right mindset.
And listen to that intuition too, because it's talking to you, brother. A lot of times when we're younger, we don't listen to it. So, Stevie, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. How do you want your dash remembered?
Absolutely. I appreciate you saying that as well. So, what I've learned is true success is how many people are better off because you were here.
Wow.
And and so I don't, and we don't have kids. So to me, my legacy is mentorship. My legacy is the people that are better because I'm here. And so I really want to touch as many people's lives as possible. I put together a personal mission statement. It's a little personal. I won't read it to your viewership, but it is about basically enhancing and making people's lives better. And the more people, because I've been blessed to be around some amazing people, part of an amazing organization where I'm able to have just incredible growth, personal growth, and even spiritual growth. And so if I could bring some of those people there and get their lives to be as enhanced as possible. I'll tell another story really quick.
Yeah, man.
So, old man, crotchety old man, skeptical old man walking on the beach, and he sees in a distance a young boy in a distance. And the boy is like throwing stuff in the water. He's curious what's going on. And as he approaches the young boy, he sees that there's hundreds of thousands of starfish that they're washed up on the shore. And he approaches the young boy and he's like, with his attitude of skepticism, "What are you doing, boy?" He's like, well, the boy's like, I'm throwing some starfish back. He's like, "It's 100,000 of these suckers. What possible difference are you going to make?" And he's like, he bends over, picks up one. He said, "I made a difference for that one." And what's one life worth, right? So if we could change, affect, save one life or 10 lives or 1,000 lives, to me, that's what my mission is, to really make an impact, and why I'm pursuing a speaking career heavily, because I know I could impact lives in a major way.
You're so good, dude. That's amazing, man. It's like inch by inch, it's a cinch, right? By the yard,
it's hard. Yeah,
dude. Just get little bit. I love that, Steve. I love it. So, what do you think people misunderstand the most about you?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm so transparent about who I am, and so authentic. I don't know. I mean, I think okay, I'll give you one. Mm-hmm. So when my mentor told me, he said, "All right, I challenge you to go meet 3 total strangers every day." I'm like, all right. And we're in the Northeast, just moved recently outside of New York and Stamford, Connecticut, but still Northeast. You talk to strangers, they want to shoot you. We were programmed as a kid, talk to strangers, don't do it because they're going to kidnap you, so it's not something you do, right?
Right.
I did it. And, it's funny. I would have people, they're like, "Oh, this guy's trying to scam me." What the heck? Like, come on, mate. What about good human behavior? Like, who said that just because you talk to somebody or reach out to somebody? I get that on LinkedIn sometimes. What's the agenda? Well, the agenda is that you connected with me.
Thank you.
So why don't we get to know each other? See if there's ways we can add value. Why bother connecting? So that there's probably that one piece that people still think there's an agenda here.
Sure.
No, the agenda is, how can it be a blessing to you? I'm sorry if you think maybe your self-esteem is so low that you think there's no way that something good could possibly come your way, just genuinely. But that's it. So probably if there's any misinterpretation is, what's the agenda? And the agenda is really, I want to help you.
Spiro, I'll tell you what, man. It's like, I live in South Florida on the East Coast, right? So I-95 corridor runs right up to where you're kind of from, right? So it's like, when I first moved here, I'm from the Midwest, dude. I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1", 260, pretty well put together, whatever. But it's like, I give hugs. Like when you and I meet in the flesh, I'll be like, "What's up, Steve?" I tell you I love you all the time. Even whenever I send stuff, you love your guts, bro. And I mean that. Dude, down here, like you sell someone from Brooklyn or Boston or whatever, they're like, but I did a deep dive into why, right? So I was like, wait a minute, the population there's crazy. Everybody's on top of each other, a lot of places there. They just want their space, man. So Fergie, you can't be the hugger, get them to, like make a connection with them, find something common, because I just say I'm a Lions fan and they're like, "Well, okay, I feel sorry for you." You know what I'm saying? So it's like, then I get them and then I'm hugging them and stuff like that. Thank you for being transparent with that, brother. That's freaking awesome. So outside of anything electronic, what are 3 things that Steve can't live without?
Wow. For me, it's my relationship with my Heavenly Father, my God. Hopefully that doesn't offend anyone, but that is for me.
I'm Christian, brother, and everybody knows it, so it's okay. See what you like.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's super important to me. Okay. My relationship with my wife, she's sitting right nearby. That is something that I value. We're not married that long, only 32 years.
Hey, does it feel like 32 minutes underwater? I'm kidding. Don't tell her I said that. I'm kidding. Miss Spiro, you heard that. I'm just kidding.
Anyway, and then, I think one of the things that I love doing is traveling. And I'm so happy that masks are off and things are starting to come out of it, especially in the Northeast with COVID, because I love traveling. And so that's a huge passion of mine. So besides the helping people part, and I think the why I love traveling is I get to meet people. I'm a big foodie. Like to eat. So traveling and
get down to South Florida, man. I'll take you out some good stuff here, brother.
No doubt. Love Florida.
What I'm saying? It's funny. One thing that I think you forgot is community, dude. I think you have to have it. You are such a connector. You're a master connector. I love it.
Yeah.
Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back with my good friend Steve Spiro here, the master connector. And Stevie, one day you and I are going to have, a dinner, drinks, whatever, and we're going to talk probably 15, 20 minutes about each one of these questions, okay? But you got 5 seconds with no explanation. So you have to turn off that East Coast talkie and just answer it quick. All right, my brother?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Steve, what's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Best leveling up advice, what?
You've ever received?
Basically find a dream and make sure you pursue that dream for
Love
sure.
It. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I meditate every morning, and that has kept me totally focused.
That's
for sure.
That's fantastic, brother. So you see me walking down the street, you're like, man, Fergie looks like he's a little bit in his doldrums. What book might you hand me?
I love the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Great book.
Absolutely, man. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Probably smiley face, because
Nice.
I've got this personality that's pretty driven, and I need to soften it up. When I message people, they think I'm yelling at them. Smiley
Gotcha.
face.
Was there any other nicknames besides Spaz growing up?
Any other language you said?
Nicknames.
Nicknames.
Other than Spaz.
Just
No?
Spaz.
That's cool. New Year's resolution this year?
My wife is reminding me that my Spiro Hero is the other nickname these days.
Spiro
But
Hero,
that was not growing up, though. Anyway, you said New Year's resolution?
Yeah, this year.
So I don't believe in resolutions. I believe in commitments. So I don't do
one every day.
resolutions.
Make one every day. I make
Absolutely.
2. 1, make someone smile every single day. And 2, unless I've hurt you, offended you, I give 0 shits about what you think about me. That's how I live. That's my resolution. All right. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Chess.
Love it. What's your go-to ice cream flavor?
Oh, Butter Pecan, Haagen-Dazs, big time.
There's there is a sandwich named the Spiro. What's on that sandwich, brother?
Oh, I'm a big American cheese guy, so I'm gonna probably have to go with basically turkey and American cheese.
Perfect.
Yeah, with mustard and mayo.
Mustard mayo. Got it.
And coleslaw on it.
Here we go. We got some of them shops down here, brother. Come on down.
Yeah.
Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time or money to?
Alzheimer's Association. I'm actually going to be doing a talk on that locally here in Westchester. But my dad suffered from Alzheimer's and passed away about a couple of years ago, and so big area that I really have a heart for.
Man. Appreciate it. I'm really sorry, but thank you. Last question. You can elaborate a little bit on this one, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Wow. I would say for me, 90s.
90s?
And I only say 90s because it was an area that I started to come into my own, right?
Nice.
It's the beginning, the rest of my whole childhood, it was dark. It was dark for me. And so in the 90s, right, I graduated, I started my company. I was already starting to get, already at that point, I was already a black belt. I was starting to feel some confidence in who I am. And that's it. It doesn't have to do with the decade itself, but it has to do with where I was at that part in time.
Isn't that funny, man? How something that can just like pop up, just a song, just bring you back to that time.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome, dude. So, Stevie, how can we find you, brother?
What's that?
How can we find you?
Oh, how we find me? Sorry, I'm having trouble here and I apologize. The easiest way is stevespiro.com.
Okay.
So just, it takes me right to it. It's like a digital business card. It's basically it's
a really cool website, Squad. Go there. It's really cool.
stevespiro.com. And then the other way is on LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. I mentioned it before. So that is a great way. Just find me, Steve Spiro. You'll see the master connector right there on the spot. I challenge you. If you got grit, all right? If you got grit, find me on LinkedIn and connect with me. If you don't have grit, don't connect with me.
Grit is a monotonous activity, man. You got to have grit and just get through it every day. So when are you dropping a book?
It's funny you say that. I'm
you have to, man. I'm like, dude, the book would freaking be awesome.
I definitely want to drop a book very soon. I'm definitely planning on.
You need to write a business parable, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, I already have the title. I already know what I'm doing. It's going to be parable based.
That's
being a black belt. You ready for the? Do you remember the book that Bruce Lee wrote, which is the Tao of Jeet Kune Do?
Excellent. I've never read it, but I do know it. It's actually, I think, sitting on my shelf. I just never really got through it. So,
and there's also, for those who aren't martial artists, there's the Tao of Poo.
Poo, yeah, baby. Yeah. Got that too.
So my book's going to be titled, and black belt, okay? The Tao of a Master Connector. The Tao is the way of. And it's going to be a bunch of parables and stories. And
man.
It's going to have some really good messages, but it's really going to inspire, but it's going to teach in a very story-like way. It's going to be awesome.
For you, man. That's what I did. I'm Bob Berg. He wrote The Go-Giver.
Yeah.
So he's like my neighbor. So I'm lucky I can write stuff and things get kind of bounced off, and it's nice. I can't wait to read your book, dude. So make sure I get that advanced copy. So do me one last favor, because I know you got to scoot here in a minute, but leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action.
You mentioned it before. Be a go-giver. Bob was on our show. I mean, I would definitely be others focused, right? Get over yourself, get out of your own way, know that you can be amazing, and go share the love with people out there, whether you're doing it in sales, whether you're doing it in whatever you're doing. Just be others focused, be a go-giver, and you will see the law of reciprocity kick in a major way. And when I started to really shift to being a go-giver and really change that perspective, 2020 in the midst of a pandemic was an incredible year, best year yet. 2021 was even better, and 22 is looking even better than that. So it's amazing. Absolutely. And squad, we really just got a really short, sweet, quick, phenomenal masterclass from my good friend, the Master Connector, Steve Spiro. They remind us that what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, that the obstacles that we go through gives us strength and experience to continue to level up and help others level up. Steve will drop videos, posts that add value, and really not expecting anything in return, but it will come to him in return because he's open to that law of mental reciprocity. He's someone that loves to mentor. And like I always say, the more you mentor, the more immortal you become. He's passing it forward. Stevie is planting trees that he will never sit in the shade of because he's such a go-giver, like our boy, Bob Berg, and that he reminds us lastly that true success is, how many people are better off because of you breathing air on this planet. So get out there and help others level up. And that's what my good friend Steve does. He levels up his health, he levels up his wealth. He's humble, yet he's hungry. He's part of the Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. You earned your varsity letter, brother. Thank you so much for coming. I love your guts, man. I can't wait to collaborate with you. Appreciate you, sir. It was awesome. Really appreciate the honor. Thank you. Chat soon.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.